And some of the most successful people I know live their lives inspirited, inspired, and make it a deliberate decision to do so every single day.
Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Barone. In this show, I will introduce you to ideas, concepts, and mindsets that will open your mind to a new world of well-being and personal life growth. Through eye-opening interviews, we elevate people in the world doing amazing things for humanity and share insights that will shift you to become the happiest, healthiest, kindest, and most compassionate version of you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Things You Can't Unhear. Today's episode is pretty epic, to be honest, and likely to light a fire in your belly and make you feel a range of different emotions, plus equip you with tools and ideas for a happier and more aligned life, no matter what you have experienced in the past. Pauline Nguyen joins the show today with a riveting interview bearing all. The Huffington Post named her an award-winning author, highly sought-after international speaker, and one of the most grounded spiritual entrepreneurs around the globe. Pauline is also the founder of Red Lantern, the most awarded Vietnamese restaurant in the world. And in 2012, she won the Australian Telstra Business Award for Medium Business. And she has several award-winning books under her belt, including Secrets of the Red Lantern and the latest release, The Spiritual Entrepreneur. Pauline shares her journey in this episode from refugee to entrepreneur, plus ideas on how we can evolve and continuously up-level ourselves, think big, and incorporate the practice of self-mastery into our lives. A truly, truly intriguing listen that will most certainly change you in some way. Okay. Hello, Pauline. Thank you so much for being on Things You Can't Unhear with me today. How are you?
I am excellent today. Given the state of things, I am excellent.
What makes you so excellent? I'm intrigued.
It's a choice. It's a choice until we become it.
I'm going to like this interview already, just judging by that answer.
We all have a choice. You know, we're in uncharted territory, right? The whole world is in uncharted territory. And we can see every single day those who have made the choice to buy into the fear, or those who have made the choice to buy into the opportunity and to the very special time in history.
It is some very special time, and something we probably won't forget for a while to come. And I'm with you there. I'm not buying into the fear. I'm trying to remain optimistic and use the opportunities to adapt and change and pivot and learn and really get to know myself on a deeper level.
Changing, pivoting and learning and getting creative and expansive is literally impossible when we are flying by the hormone of stress and fear. Brain shuts down, emotions shut down, body shuts down. So we have a choice, right? We need to keep vibrating high. We need to keep our spirits high in order to find the solutions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you. So for those who don't know, Pauline is the co-founder of Red Lantern, which is a very famous Vietnamese restaurant.
What a Vietnamese restaurant in the world.
Exactly. There you go. And unfortunately, you've had to close your doors right now as well. So this is impacting you greatly, as well as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and still managing to keep your chin up. So it's a great example that you're setting for all of us.
So I have the restaurant as well. I'm an international speaker, and as we know, events all closed.
So you're two big things, right?
Yeah, but things that I'm creating. Yeah, using this time to create.
You're a writer too. I'm currently reading your new book, The Way of the Spiritual Entrepreneur, and the title itself just got me straight away because there are two key words in there that, I'm very intrigued with. And, it's taught me a lot. I mean, I'm probably a quarter of the way through, and I'm like, this is definitely my kind of book. This is my kind of story.
Late last year, it won Best Small Business Book and Entrepreneurship of the Year.
I see that. I'm looking at the sticker. Australian Business Book Awards, Best Entrepreneurship and Small Business Book 2019. It's massive. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to ask, what does this book mean to you? But I mean, perhaps we can get into your background and your story a little bit first, to give people a little bit of an idea of what journey it took you to get to the point of writing that book. Because I know that's probably where a lot of the gold is, and that's where, you know, many of us listening may be in that starting point right now and want to end up to that point where you're at when you're writing that book. So it's always, I find there's so much gold in listening to people's story and their journey to get to where they were. And I know yours is rather fascinating and interesting in so many different ways. And I'd love you to share a bit of your background as a child with us, and your entrepreneurial spirit and where it started.
Sure. I can very easily tell the story of how fucked up my childhood was. But that is just a story, right? I no longer, it is no longer who I am. I can very easily tell it now because it is in service of others. You reminded me to frame it that way for those who may still be in that space. I look back at how I grew up and I see it now as my training. It was my training. And so my father built a boat and smuggled our family and 2 other families just after the Vietnam War. So there were 6 adults, 6 children on the boat. I was 3 years old. My brother Lewis was 2. We spent 9 days out at sea. Luckily for us, my father made the decision well before many of our countrymen and women escaped. We avoided the pirates out at sea. We escaped before the pirates caught wind of the bounty that was to leave at sea. A lot of people who tried to escape after, you know, the communist regime was the least of their worries. So our family ended up in a refugee camp in Thailand. We were only meant to stay for a few months, but we ended up staying for a year. My mother gave birth to my brother Luke in the refugee camp. You may know my brother Luke. He's quite a well-known international celebrity chef. And then coming to Australia with absolutely nothing. You know, many of your listeners can resonate and probably have a very similar story from multiple nationalities. We came here with nothing. And my father suffered terribly from post-traumatic stress disorder, not only from the war, but also from his own upbringing. And so growing up in Australia for us, the racism, the prejudice, the political culture at the time was nothing compared to the violence I experienced at home. Physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse. My father had nowhere to dump his anger, so he dumped it on my mother, and soon he dumped it on us kids. So there was so much trauma in myself, and growing up just really angry, and angry people are very skilled at noticing all that is wrong, right? They're very skilled. And so I grew up as a young adult in error detection mode. My neuroscience coach refers to it as the right-wrong virus, a mind operating system that has error detection and judgment at its core. And it's all I knew, right? It's what was downloaded onto me. It was what my parents taught me. So that's all I knew. And, you know, growing up an angry, error detection young adult made me very tired. I got very tired. And people who are tired get very sick. People who get very sick can't really open their minds and their hearts up to wake up to their purpose, right? And so I tell this story in service of others because I coach and mentor many entrepreneurs and business people who still carry those same stories. They haven't made the choice to understand that it was either just an event, or it was their training, or they need to find a way out now from that dis-ease. And that was very much my story. So fast forward, it was the choices that I decided to make in relation to the trauma was, I now want to have children. And this trauma now ends with me.
Yeah.
It ends with me. And I wrote my first book in 2007 called Secrets of the Red Lantern. And that was very much, I wanted to create an heirloom for my daughter to understand why I am the way I am, and how I transformed and why I transformed. It was purely for her. Had I not decided to have a child, I would have probably been the same person. But things change when it's no longer about us, it's about someone else. And I won Debut Writer of the Year for the first book. It became an international bestseller. I had no idea what a massive success it would be.
Amazing.
So many letters, so many stories from people all around the world. Survivors of domestic abuse, Vietnam vets, strangely enough, which came as a big surprise to me, plentiful letters from the children of survivors of the Holocaust as well. Different war, same story.
It's just that resilience that people hear from you that is infectious. I think that's the big thing about you, is that you are so infectious in so many ways, so many amazing ways, but the resilience that you have and where you've taken your life from the abuse that you endured and the family violence that you endured and all of those horrible things that you were brought up in, you became this amazingly minded person today, and you taught yourself all of that, didn't you?
I made the decision myself. I have very powerful teachers from all around the world.
Yes.
I don't like to dabble. I think the only thing I'm really kind of dabbling in at the moment is LinkedIn. Trying to get an expert to do that. It's just not my jam. If I set my mind to something, I want to learn it fast, and I go straight to the master. You say that I'm infectious. There's a secret number 3 from my book, The Way of the Spiritual Entrepreneur, is be a contagion. I have an event every year called the Ziva Life Collective. It's a women's retreat. It's where all the misfits fit.
I love that.
We don't do wellness. We do well-being. We're drinking Negronis, we're doing yoga, we're watching the sunrise, but it's how to become a badass manifester, because we all have that power within us. But the very first law of attraction is to become attractive. And become attractive being, not how you look and your health, your electromagnetic signature, are the words that you use attracting people, becoming infectious with people, because the effect that we have on others is the most valuable currency we have, right? Is your natural state of being attracting the people that you want? Is your energy radiance attracting those in your orbit who are going to get you to where you need to go faster? And so when we ascend to a higher dimensional field, being a different way of thinking, a different way of speaking, the masters can smell a phony from a mile away, done the hard work, and they know that their efforts are not going to be wasted. And as a mentor and a coach myself, I realized that there are two sorts of mentees or mentorees, whatever you like to call them. Those who like to be seen to have a particular coach or mentor or master, and those who actually execute and do the work. The ones who only like to be seen to having a coach or mentor or master, sometimes their egos are too big to actually do the work that needs to be done. It's one of those things where, you do the research and you go straight to I go straight to the masters, and I learn very, very fast. And so there's no dilly-dallying, and that's also how I like to teach. And so the results that my clients get are very fast results.
Fast results are good. Fast results are very good. I do, in this interview today, I really want to explore the entrepreneur, because I think entrepreneurs are very interesting people and have incredible characteristics. When did your entrepreneurial spirit kick in? Were you born with this spirit within you? Were you taught it? How did you adapt to an entrepreneurial belief system?
it was literally beaten into me.
Mm.
My father was quite the entrepreneur himself. We came to Australia, and when we first came, he worked on the production line in the Sunbeam factory in Campsie when we were living in the migrant hostel. The graveyard shift was 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. They gave him all the shifts that nobody wanted.
Mm.
And we finally got a housing commission house in Bonnyrigg in the late 80s. And he opened Cabramatta's very first ice cream parlor. I'm sorry, it started with a video library. And so we worked, it was child labor basically. We worked in the video library. He chose this location, which was in the heart of Cabramatta's bustling commercial district. And then he moved the video library upstairs. Downstairs became our very first restaurant. At the front of the restaurant, he had Cabramatta's very first ice cream parlor. We made delicious fresh fruit ice cream. I was taught how to make ice cream from Mr. Kapagani of Mr. Kapagani fame when I was 7. We also had Cabramatta's very first coffee machine making 1980s cappuccino. So the froth was like 10 centimeters high. And he also operated a driving school on the side. So we had the video library, the restaurant, the ice cream parlor, and the coffee, as well as the driving school. And there were my brothers and myself, we worked in it. So we learned very fast about product knowledge, about speed, discipline, a whole lot of stuff.
And you were children at this time?
We were children. I started working when I was 7.
Wow.
In the mornings, we'd go out and I would help my parents set up the mise en place in the kitchen. My brothers would set up the tables and chairs inside and out. We'd catch the train to school. After school, we'd catch the train back to the restaurant, helped him clean up after lunch service. We helped set up for dinner service. We then caught the bus back home. I cooked and cleaned for my brothers. We raised a bunch of attack dogs as well. I made them do their homework. So I practically raised my brothers on my own while my parents worked. And this was our life. And on top of all of that, we had to get good grades as well, you see. And if we didn't, it was a good beating that ensued. So the entrepreneurial spirit was literally beaten into me. And so I have 2 choices. Yeah, there was a certain point in time as a teenager when, life was so terrible, I ran away from home. But looking back now in the position that I am in now, that was my training.
Yeah. You've obviously grown from the challenges that you've been in your life and become an amazing entrepreneur yourself, and obviously with these really strong characteristics that you were raised with, but in the most beautiful way that you put it forward in your books. So for those of us who didn't have that experience and has sort of had no choice but to adapt to that, do you believe an entrepreneur is born within us, or can we adapt to characteristics of an entrepreneur?
I think it's both, because it also depends on your environment, right? This is epigenetics at its best. If you were born to parents who had no idea about entrepreneurship, but your social networks, your schooling, your teachers, if someone influenced you in some way, shape or form, that is your environment, right? We become our environment becomes us. We become our associations become us. We become the language that we speak. The language we speak becomes us. We must choose all these things very, very well. In its purest sense, an entrepreneur is someone who consistently, they can't help it. We can't help it. We see what needs there are in the world. We can identify it. We can see a gap. Everywhere we can see gaps, and then we go about filling that gap. We go about fixing the situation. We go about making life easier for everyone. We're very good fixer-uppers, and we're not allergic to making money, because if we don't make any money, how can we help more people? How can we continue to live our life's calling? And so that's where spirituality and entrepreneurship must marry. It's that I've experienced so many entrepreneurs who have plenty of money in the bank account but are spiritually bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I've come across a lot of spiritual people who have no money to speak of.
Mm.
And so both are in pain. Whereas if you can combine the two, spirituality and entrepreneurship, what is spirituality? It's not a word to be afraid of. It's purely physics that has yet to be explained. Spirituality is about living our lives so in spirit and inspired that we are doing our best work. And some of the most successful people I know live their lives in spirit and inspired and make it a deliberate decision to do so every single day.
Absolutely love that. I love that. And what happens, in your opinion, when you merge spirituality and entrepreneurship?
Life gets so much fun. Life gets so much fun because when we merge spirituality, our energy radiance, our bodies are the instrument of consciousness, you see. And so, I've come across so many entrepreneurs, and all they talk about is, mindset. I'm what do they call it? Running that red line, and I haven't slept for days, and gone are those days when that's cool. That's not cool anymore.
Yeah,
because that's not normal. How can you be inspired when you're living by the hormone of stress? How can you possibly be doing your best work when there is no sense of inner peace, inner power, outer abundance? Fulfillment is the new currency. Fulfillment is the new currency, not to get yourself into a state of dis-ease. So for me and for what I teach, it can't just be about the mindset. We also have to take into consideration our health. How is our health? What are you doing and that doesn't mean going and having your adrenal gland shot because you spent so much time at the gym doing crazy stuff. It's about emotional health, flexibility, agility, mobility, all the things that will lead to longevity of life. And then, of course, there's what about your heart? How kind are you? How much compassion do you have? How much love are you not afraid to speak? And then, of course, there is the soul, the spirit. How connected are you to source? How connected are you to other spiritual beings? How connected are you to something greater than yourself? So when we combine the four, the mind, the heart, the health, as well as the spirit, things happen very, very fast. And it's fun because playfulness, joyfulness, silliness, they become very essential elevated emotions to get us to where we want to go faster, because along the way, the higher that vibration and more people come into the vortex who are all playful, joyful, silly, having fun, life happens very fast, and it gets very, very exciting because we're creating some really cool shit together.
It's like we've redefined the idea of what success is, isn't it?
Absolutely. Success is, for me, how much inner peace do I feel? How much fulfillment am I feeling? The people around me, is there anyone who does not speak their truth or contributing to my truth? Are we all on the same page in friendliness and wisdom and compassion? Are we hoarding our information, or are we sharing it? Because we are what we share, right? And are we all contributing, or are we all in a state of adventure and love and freedom? And this is our birthright. This is our birthright. And that's and you'll find more and more when you get in contact with and associate with and join with these people. We all collaborate in order to change the world faster, because we can't do it on our own. It's not fun to do it on your own.
When you say it's our birthright, doesn't that just give you this push from within to go, I deserve this. This is my thing that I have the right to achieve, the right to have, in my hands. I love that. You put a bit of a fire in my belly when you speak, and I love listening to you. And I suppose that's the aim of your work, is to put that fire in our bellies. I love how you say you hate thinking small, and you can't do anything else but think big. And I know personally in my own journey, and a lot of people that I know, we're sort of low risk and don't take that big wide thinking approach to projects that we take on. Can we shift that? And what would the steps be to really like looking at the world on a broader, wider, bigger level to, you know, really go for our dreams in a grand way?
I will have to backtrack in and let you know, I guess, let everyone understand that I wasn't born this way.
And that's so soothing to hear, because we can learn it too.
You can learn it too. You just have to get a really good teacher, because I was born into fear. I know what fear smells like. It was beaten into me. There are only ever two emotions, fear and love. Those are the only two emotions, fear and love. Everything else falls underneath those two emotions. And so I have one beautiful client of mine. She has a very successful branding agency. And when I first met her, I said, can I show you what your energy looks like, feels like to me? And her energy felt like a piece of paper that had been crunched up. And I said, I may not see you again, but I wanted to let you know. And she revealed to me that she had suffered 12 years of chronic pain all down the left side of her body. And it was a type of rheumatoid arthritis. And I said, on a scale of 0 to 10, how bad is that pain? And she said, it's like a chronic 9 or 10. And said, if you would like, I can assist you. And she said, I've tried everything. You can't help me. I said, the first point of healing is to give permission. Because if you don't give permission, then you're not open to the opportunity or the possibility. And you reminded me of this story, Maritza, because she was so brave to do the work. And the work is beautiful work. It's accessing nature's medicine. A big part of what I do is shamanic work. Shaman is a way of being. It's not woo-woo, it's not voodoo. It's based on nature's medicine. And so nature's medicine being, I want you to greet the sunrise every day. Make sure you look into the sunrise, because when the sun rises, it's the most potent, most healing frequency, and it will activate your pineal gland and your pituitary gland and assist you to heal from the inside out. I want you to jump in the ocean. The ocean, it contains so much power. It is the greatest Faraday cage and will neutralize all the artificial EMFs that we absorb during the day. I want you to change your words and change your thoughts. I want you to breathe differently. Here are some breath strategies. I want you to move differently. Here is some movements that will give you energy rather than take energy from you. I want you to start auditing the people that you hang around. And of course, I did some shamanic work for her and some shamanic journaling and gave her some images to play with. So that was last October. By December, because she does the work, if you don't do the work, you don't get the pay.
Yeah.
And so by December, her pain was down to a 4. This is 12 years of chronic pain. Her pain was down to a 4. Do you know what she said to me? Pauline, I am happy all the time. I'm giggling all the time. I just want to hug people all the time. And I said, that is your birthright. That is your birthright. We are here on this earth to do one thing, and that is to evolve and to do it with joy. To evolve and to do it with joy, because pain is inevitable, but suffering is the choice. Suffering is the choice. And so now we're into March. By February, her pain was down to a 0.
Wow.
A 0. I have another client who was seeing a psychologist for 6 or so years. He read my book when he was on safari in Kenya. He holds safaris in Kenya. By our third session, everything had changed for him. Feeling great is his new norm, he said. Feeling great is his new norm. I said, feeling great is your birthright. Is your birthright. And so the way, because of my teachers, I found that talk therapy doesn't work. We have to combine the four: the mind, the heart, the health, as well as the soul and the spirit. And we have to do the semantic work, the somatic work, as well as the soulmatic work. What words will you speak? What thoughts will you think? All right, now let's work on your body. Where are the emotions that are trapped in your body? Let's release some of that with movement, with activation, with voice activation, with acupressure activation. And now let's work on the spirit, right? And so when we work on all those aspects together, life gets so much fun and playful and joyous. And when we hang around and we become this posse of just joy, more and more want to join, right? So that's back to that point of, you want to become a badass manifester, become a really attractive person, so that you attract more people into your orbit who will help you to get to where you want to go faster, and to do it with joy.
I love how you are so involved emotionally with the people that you've worked with, and the people that have read your books, and the people that you have changed. Is the emotion coming from the fact that you've helped them so much in their lives?
The emotion is pride. There is no pain here. The emotion is pride. Pride that they did the work and they got the pay. Pride that they believed in me. Pride that they believed in themselves.
It's beautiful. I think you mentioned something in all of that was quite key too, and that's evolving. And I think that's a really important point, is that we don't have to be stuck in that position that we're in. There's always ways to evolve.
Well, here's the thing. We owe it to life to evolve. We owe it to life. If you have children, can you imagine your children who watch everything and watch their parents be the same for the rest of their lives? Can you imagine your team members, your staff members watching you be the same? Our job as leaders, our job as parents is to inspire, to be in spirit and inspire. That's what spirituality is to be in spirit and inspire. Spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Religion needs spirituality. Spirituality doesn't need religion. But we owe it to life, to do life on our terms. And so people talk about purpose. How do I find my purpose, Pauline? And the first thing I always tell them is, hey, mate, purpose is not a race, because evolution is not a race. But you can do it faster than others should you decide to do so. Who can I get into my orbit to help me to get to where I want to go faster, right? But it's don't become addicted to a life you don't even like. Have a really good look at it. And we have an obligation to life to do it on our terms. And that takes courage to say, enough. I don't want to sacrifice anymore. I don't want to be heavy anymore. There's no right or wrong answer. There's just simply a choice that needs to be made. There's simply a choice that needs to be made.
I love how you say you need other people to help you with your goal and to bring them in. You can't do it alone. I love that, because so many people think that they need to quietly go and do things alone and then release it to the world. Bringing people in can certainly make the process much easier.
And much more fun.
Yeah, that's so true. Rather than doing things on your own.
Yeah. And so you asked earlier about how I get things done so fast. That's a big part of it. But there's also the cognitive dissonance. There's that thing that says inside of me that says, no, I'm going to write a book. I'm not sure how to do it. I've never written a book before. And so a part of us says, who the hell do you think you are, Pauline, to write an award-winning book? And then another part of us says, well, if I'm not going to aspire to be number one or aim to be number one, how the hell am I going to get there? not by default. If I'm going to open a restaurant, how about I open not just any restaurant, but do my best to become the most awarded Vietnamese restaurant in the world? And then a part of us says, who the hell do you think you are? You know? And I said, well, if I'm not going to aim for it, how am I going to get there? And even if I miss, at least I'll get close to there. But how are we going to get there if we don't aim for it? So to be mediocre is to not give life to life. You know, I'm going to write a couple of another book, and it's going to be an award-winning book. Oh, who do you think you are, Pauline? I've never written a business book before. Yeah, but I won for the first one. I can do it again. If we don't strive for it, how are we going to get there? You know, I want to be an international speaker and want to be the top speaker in Australia or in the world. Who do you think you are? Well, if we don't strive for it, how are we going to get there?
So in your opinion, so bridging the gap between who do you think you are to being the award winner, is the answer, well, some part of the answer, goal setting? Is that what you're sort of trying to say? Is that sort of setting that goal and making it known to yourself before you even get started is a big key into this?
I prefer to call it soul setting.
Soul setting.
Rather than goal setting.
Love that.
Soul setting is saying, that's what I want. And it's a different dialogue for me now, Maritza. I've been in that other spot, in that spot that says, I will do anything to get that, right? My question now for me is, soul setting is, I will do anything to get that as long as I'm in spirit and inspired, as long as it's not going to cause me physical pain, as long as I'm not going to be stepping on anyone, as long as I'm living in alignment to my truth, you know, and these may sound like throwaway comments for some people who don't really get it, but alignment to my truth being, no, I'm not going to work 15 hours a day because that was once cool. I'm going to rest. I'm going to do my morning routine. I'm going to set up my day so that I'm in a state of awe and wonder. How have I contributed to the world today? And so it's a different way of doing things now. And so soul setting is what is going to make my heart sing? What is going to make my spirit sing? Because here's the secret. When we are in that state, we are tapped into unbridled energy. And then we surrender. And surrender doesn't mean give up. Surrender means that there are event managers out in the quantum field. Just because we can't see them, it doesn't mean that they are not there. They have ideas and plans and events far, far more rich, far, far more adventurous than I could ever imagine or think up. And I say that from direct experience. Time and time again, my event managers has set my destiny in a way that is so profound that it has made me fall to my knees time and time and time again. And so that's what I mean by soul setting. The secret is to put the intention out. What is it that you want, Pauline? You strive for it. Once you strive for something, okay, who do I need in my orbit to get me to where I want to go faster? Who do I need to become in order to attract the people I want to attract? And so when we set that intention and we strive for it, it has already gone out into the quantum field. And the event managers have already started managing and putting the pieces together. And the secret then is to stay in the elevated emotion, because the thought sends a signal out, but the elevated emotion draws the event back to us if you have been working on your body being your instrument of consciousness, if you have been working on your vibration, if you have been working on your territorial fields and your emotions, and keeping the spirits high by living with by the hormone of joy and creation and collaboration and innovation and imagination and love and playfulness, rather than the hormone of stress, that's when things get really, really exciting. And that's what I mean by soul setting.
Tell me, what are some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that keep you in that elevated emotion, that high vibration energy? What are some day-to-day things that you do?
it's a strict routine, but it's fun.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, but this I have to frame it that this is not to say that I shut my eyes and ears to the natural vicissitudes of life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses. I experience a whole lot of ups and downs, but you know, it's choosing to look at it a different way. When we are riding by the hormone of stress, or we're in that reactive mode, we can't be response able, and so we have our intelligence robbed of us, right? Our brain shuts down. We're only using 10% of it, and so these are the reasons why it's important. It's not, you know, this hippie feel good thing. There are scientific reasons behind it, and so I don't need to sleep very much. It's been like that for a very long time. I think the sleep industry, just as the happiness industry, has a lot to answer for. We're not meant to be happy 24/7. We're meant to experience a full gamut of emotions. That's what life is. There's a lot to be learnt from melancholy and anxiety and overwhelm and anger and sadness, but we choose to sit in that emotion for only a short period of time in order to learn the lessons, and then we choose to get out of it. But that's a muscle that needs to be practiced. So I get up at 4:30, sometimes earlier, if I need to do work in the quantum field, because the doors to dimensions are open the most between the hours of 1:30 and 4:30 in the morning. And so many people receive emails from me at that time, not that they're awake, but they're like, what are you doing? But they know me by now. I'm doing the work. But 4:30 is when I pray, I meditate, and most of all, I rehearse my behaviors. I mentally rehearse my behaviors for the day. And then I get up, I dry brush my body to get everything, the lymphatics activated. I have a cold shower. I'm so used to it now. The cold shower activates my vagus nerve, reduces inflammation, up levels my badassery.
Yep.
And then I'm usually coaching at sunrise. But before that, I make my kids' lunches. I have a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. I leave them in the fridge, have my bulletproof coffee, and then I'm out coaching. And coaching is at sunrise. We always jump in the ocean afterwards so that it anchors the teachings. It also helps them to withstand the cold a little bit more. We get some cold water therapy. It activates a whole lot of stuff. And so by that time, I'm home by 8:39 to start my day.
Wow. Start your day after all of those amazing things that you've done to set up your day.
Most of the time there's this spectacular place I coach from. We see dolphins, we see whales, we see seals, people swimming. It's really, really beautiful.
You're based in New South Wales, aren't you?
Yeah, in Clovelly.
Beautiful. Wow. So that is a lot of amazing things that you do very early on. And a lot of us listening would be like, no chance I'm waking up at that time. That's my amazing time to rest. But you are really getting a head start on your day, doing those things and just setting up how you feel for the rest of the day, setting up your energy for the rest of the day. I had a massive smile on my face listening to you do that, because I could just envision what that would feel like if you did that every single day, and you'd almost feel like 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
But you do.
Yes, you do.
You are. And so when you said, most people are like, what the hell? There's no way. I hear it all the time. And then when with my clients, it becomes them, and then they become it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't imagine living life any other way, because here's the thing. When you are in receipt of the joys of it, of all the benefits of meditation, of manifestation, of playing that game, why on earth would you miss a single day?
Is there a gradual process that we can introduce this with, or would you suggest jumping straight into it?
It depends. It depends. So, for example, I have one of my clients, and I laugh so much. He's a grown man, and when I told him in the winter, this is what we're going to do. You meet me at dark, at first light. I do the shamanic work, a very potent time. The session will probably go for a couple of hours, and then we jump in the ocean. And he said to me, "Are you on crack?" and then after the session, I got in the water, and I think watching him I had to suppress my giggles. Watching him, it was probably about a good 20 minutes before the procrastination. And I said, I just want you to take a screenshot of this moment, because in no time at all, that's the practice, right? To shut down that procrastination piece.
That's right. I mean, it's still pretty warm here in Australia at the moment, but I'm remembering those really bitterly cold mornings, and I can just really sympathize with his procrastination right there. I can totally understand. I've been trying to implement some cold showers into my life, and I'm not a big fan of being cold, but I'm doing the last 30 seconds of my showers at the moment to sort of gradually introduce the process, and I'm extending the time each shower that I'm having. That's sort of my approach to how I do things. I try to like slowly get comfortable with things, but I can see that you're probably the opposite to that. You're probably jump right in, get it done, and never stop.
It depends. It depends, Ritza, because there are some people who like that, Tony Robbins thing that, take massive action. Or there are those who take the smarter route, which is the NHT technique, the new habit technique, where you do something little by little every day until it becomes your norm. And it depends on what kind of personality you are. But talking about the cold showers, one thing that I could offer you to try is rather than turning it, having a hot shower, I think of things, for example, wow, look at all the water I'm wasting watching it go down the drain, waiting for it to become hot. Right?
That's true.
A lot of water. And so I turn it on and I step in straight away. I shut down that procrastination. But the word that I use is invitation. I'm inviting, right? And the words are very, very powerful. They become spells. And so what if on the inhale, when I'm walking straight into the cold shower, I'm breathing into my diaphragm where my calm receptors are, rather than chest breathing, go, so cold. That's our chest receptors, are the stress receptors are in our chest. What if I first thought about all the water that I'm wasting? I stepped into it knowing that I'm up-leveling my badassery by shutting down that procrastination voice, but then saying invitation and walking in with my face first and then my body. It's an invitation. And, like 2 to 5 minutes is not a lot of time when you're thinking about invitation. It changes the game. When you're breathing correctly, it changes the game.
So let's talk about breath for a minute. What are the ways to breathe correctly?
The breath is so important. It's so very, very important. And we have our gut intelligence, we have our heart intelligence, we have our brain intelligence, our mind intelligence. What is the one thing that connects all three intelligences? It's our breath. It's our breath. And so breath work is very important in shamanic work. And there's particular breath techniques to get us into trance faster. When we get into trance, we're more suggestible to information faster. Cold shower or anything that's cold. I remember about a month ago, before they closed the borders, one of my inner circles, I also have a few inner circles, spiritual entrepreneur inner circles, which I facilitate. And during these times, I'm also going to launch next week an online inner circle for these. It's going to be called my Emergency Thrive and Inspiration Program. There's going to be a lot of healing that needs to be done at this time. A lot of people who need inspiration and a sense of thriving rather than just surviving. So I was in New Zealand, and part of my morning routine was going in the lake. I think it was about 8 degrees or 9 degrees or something. And I went in cool, calm, ninja style, because I'm practiced and because I accessed the correct breath strategy. in order to stay in the cold water, probably for about 15 minutes or so, and then getting myself into a state of meditation whereby I could meditate. And then the cold water no longer becomes cold. It becomes a power source. And we vibrate so powerfully with the power source when we become one with it. It's very difficult to leave. Very difficult to leave after that, because we're connected to the power. Anyway, so I was with my inner circle, and a few of the males jumped into the water, go, oh my God, you're really unattractive to me right now. And I offer you a breath technique. And it was the through the nose only, breathing in, but with the back of the nose and the throat, and then breathing out with the back of the mouth. This particular breath, in through the nose, breathing into the back of the nose, but inhaling into the diaphragm, already to calm ourselves, and then breathing out with an open mouth. That's calming the back of the throat. It's calming the stomach. It's making us warmer. So it literally warms us up. It's all part of the, and it's that I said you have to do at least 3, but also because of my energy influencing their energy, and they're like, holy shit, and then we all just sat there in quiet, in chilled, super cool, no jumping around, and we all just end up meditating in 8 degrees water for 15 minutes or so. It's so fast. It can happen so quickly, and then a lot of your audience might know of the box breath. If we imagine a box, this is a breath that is used by snipers. It's used by the police. It's used by airport security. It's to calm the nerves, get back into focus. And so you can use this box breath. Sometimes when my clients call me and say, I'm going to go into this really difficult management meeting, can you help me? And so I assist them with a script. I assist them with a breath strategy. This is one of the strategies. I assist them with particular words, particular postures, particular anchors. And so this becomes a practice of mastery. It's all about, spirituality is about the practice of self-mastery. And so, how are you going to show up in the face of your lover, your boss, your children when you have that difficult conversation? Let's prepare ourselves. And so I want you to beforehand take a snapshot of how you're feeling now. And so close your eyes. And at every count, I just want you to visualize the side of a box, okay? Relax. Find your center. I want you to put your left hand on your stomach. At every inhale, I want your stomach to expand. At every exhale, I want your stomach to empty. It's all in the diaphragm where your calm receptors are. When I ask you to hold your breath, I want you to focus on that point in the middle, in between your eyes, your third eye, your pineal gland, in front of your pituitary gland. I'm going to call that your true home. That's where you rest whenever you hold your breath. And then I want you to, whenever you hold your breath, I just want you to relax. Holding your breath doesn't mean contracting your muscles. Holding your breath means relax. So relax. Now I want you to listen to the sound of my voice. Hear nothing but the sound of my voice. For a moment, find your center and focus on your true home. Inhale into the diaphragm for 3. 1, 2, 3. On a full diaphragm, I want you to hold for 3. Relax. Go to your true home. 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You now have an empty diaphragm. Hold for 3. 1, 2, 3. You're breathing with your nose only. Inhale for 3. hold for 3, relax, go to your true home, hold, 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 exhale for 6, empty diaphragm, go to your true home, hold for 3, 1, 2, 3, inhale for 3, full diaphragm, hold on a full diaphragm, go to your true home, 1, 2, 3, exhale for 6, hold for 3, 1, 2, 3. I want you to now inhale for 4, nose only into your diaphragm, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale for 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8, hold for 4. One more round, inhale for 4, hold for 4, find your peace, go to your true home, relax, exhale for 8. Hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you are ready, place a gentle smile on your face, come back to this awareness, relax, breathe at your own pace now. Take a snapshot now of how you feel.
Amazingly grounded, impressively grounded. And that didn't take very long at all, did it?
That only took a few minutes.
I love that.
So when we have road rage, when someone cuts off, rather than being in a reactionary self, come back to the true self, come back to the true home, go inward, access your breath, combine all 3 intelligences so that our intelligence is not robbed of us.
We need our breath management more than ever right now, Pauline. Thank you so very much for your time today. I do want you to let us know the details of your online group coaching circle, because I think a lot of our listeners would be very keen to jump in. Can you give us the details on how to find out more about that?
There's so much healing that needs to be done in this time. And to prepare ourselves for what's to come. So it's called the Way of the Spiritual Entrepreneur Emergency Thrive and Inspiration Program. I'm going to run it for 6 months and see how things evolve from there. One, they can either be part of my database, go onto my website, paulinenguyen.com.au. So what that involves would be Monday, I will do a 30-minute workshop. I have a plethora of very valuable and impactful subjects that I will be speaking on, followed by a 30-minute live Q&A. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, I will do a 30-minute quantum shamanic voice activation healing. It's a meditation, very powerful meditation. I facilitate several groups of quantum healing intention circles. We bring on the rain. We heal one another. We heal particular issues. Life gets so much fun. Life's so much fun. And I'm thinking probably on a Saturday morning, it's a 30-minute breath workshop. Oh, so that's awesome. You get 2 hours of me every day, every week.
Every week. Oh, I could handle that. I think most people could. I think that's brilliant. And we will definitely be putting all of that information in the show notes of this episode, as well as links to Pauline's website. Thank you so much for being on the show. You are an intriguing woman and have taught us a lot over this last hour. I'm Maritza Barone. Thank you for listening to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Let us know what you thought of this episode, and if something really profound came up for you that you want to share, let's talk about it. You can find me on Instagram at Things You Can't Unhear, or on my personal page at Maritza_Barone. And if someone you know will benefit from something that was said in this show, make sure you share it with them too. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and keep up to date with what's next. And if you can spare a few seconds, please rate and review the show on iTunes, just so other people can find us more easily and quickly. And as always, my friends, be happy, be healthy, be conscious, and be kind.